wanted to come on and talk to you about a topic that that feels really important in our spiritual world and our spiritual community. And the topic is our desire. And the reason I think this is so important is I grew up in a very spiritual household, but it was also a very hierarchy kind of place. My father was he homeschooled my brothers and I, and he was a Vietnam veteran. So he was very militant. You know, he had sort of his own stuff and his own trauma, but he was also a very spiritual being and very alternative. And so he was really important to him to give his children a spiritual foundation. And so but because he was so militant and very sort of structured, I got a lot of information that today feels like I have more information since I've connected directly sort of with the divine and with my guide and spirit and gotten more about this. And one of the things that I learned when I was young is desire is evil. We shouldn't have any desire. If you have desire, you're not a spiritual person, or you're not in your highest spiritual self. Well, here's what I've discovered, what I've learned about desire, having grown up feeling guilty about my desires, feeling like I ought to not have them. What I feel now is a little bit different. So our desires, it's true, our desires do limit what is possible for us. And what that means is the desire is it's like a signpost pointing us in the direction that we need to go in order to fulfill our purpose here, to express our essence and to turn around and serve with our greatest gifts. The desire is not the destination point. If you continue to treat your desire as the destination point, you are perpetually unfulfilled, chasing signpost after signpost, desire after desire. And when you get to the signpost that you saw in the distance, you're like, this is just a signpost. This doesn't give me anything. This doesn't fulfill me. And Spirit whispers, your desire is just the pointer. Your desire is pointing you to the feeling that that your spirit is asking for. And so, you want the red sports car. Well, take a step back from that form, the desire, and feel into what is that? What do I think that is going to provide me in terms of my feeling? And that's what the desire is having you look for, is having you connect with. So, is desire evil? No, desire is really part of our desires are the creative force that make our world real, that make our world physical and tangible. And I'll tell you another funny story. I was at a kirtan, which is a devotional chanting ceremony. And I love these. I mean, when you get into a room full of people singing to the divine and getting devotional like that, it's an amazing atmosphere. And the person who was leading the kirtan would pause and he would tell a story. Now, kirtans are from the Hindu religion. So the stories are Hindu, from the Hindu mythology. And he told the story about the Lord Shiva, who's the destroyer of our delusions. The Lord Shiva lost his wife Parvati. And in his grief, he went into a state of meditation and a state of stillness. And he became so still and so calm that he had no desire. And because he had no desire, the world stopped spinning. Creation started to fall to pieces. So the other gods were frantically trying to figure out how to bring him out of his stillness and meditative state and give him the desire so that he would start moving. And what that would do is that would get the world spinning again, and that would get the world moving again, that kind of perpetual motion happening. And they tried every which way, all kinds of different things. And finally, they understood that Shiva has a lusty appetite, right? He likes women and beauty. And so they sent one of the gods in disguise as a beautiful woman and to tempt him out of his meditative state. And that was what worked. Shiva looked at her and felt the desire start to turn inside him. And so he jumped out of his meditation and went chasing on after her. Now, what was entertaining to me was the person who was leading this kirtan said, what this story illustrates for us is that only the desire for enlightenment is what makes the world go round. And I went, I don't see it that way. My understanding of that is it's our desire for things in the material world that make our world go round. And without it, we stop spinning, we stop creating, we stop the momentum. And this is true on an individual level, it's true on a global level, on a universal level even. Our universe is only one piece of the huge, vast creation. And in our particular little corner of it, and I don't know if this is true for all of creation, but in ours, it's desire our desires that create that energy, that create that momentum. So is desire evil? No, but desire becomes counterproductive when we believe that the desire is the end result, is the end game, that that's what is going to give us what we want, because it's never the desire. It's only pointing you in the direction. And as you dig deeper and move forward, not chasing desire for desire's sake, but following your impulses, following the desire to travel, following the desire to, speak with that person, or following the desire to buy whatever it is that we want, understanding that our desire is our impulse driving us forward and moving us forward towards our destiny. And desire starts to work that way for us when we let go of the form and hearken back to the feeling. All right, hearken back to, sorry, let me just pause for a second. So we tend to jump from feeling to form very quickly, and we mistake our desire for our feelings. But that's not the case. The desire is something separate entirely. What we want is something separate entirely from how we want to feel.